a loving wife, a successful businessman, and a seemingly perfect life. But behind closed doors, secrets festered, lies, betrayal, and a murder so brutal it shocked an entire nation. When the truth unraveled, it wasn't a masked intruder or a jealous rival behind the crime. It was someone far closer than anyone imagined. A web of manipulation, deception, and a chilling confession would expose the horrifying truth. Buckle up, because this case is darker than it seems. Hey, true crime fans! I'm Eamon, and I'm thrilled to share crime tales across times with you. Each episode will explore a new case, examining the evidence and discussing the twists and turns. My goal is to create a community where we can discuss these cases, share our thoughts, and learn from each other. So, let's get started. Steven Caldwell, a 42-year-old businessman from Austin, Texas, had built a life many would envy. As the owner of a thriving real estate agency, he was respected in his community for his keen business sense and generous spirit. His colleagues described him as charismatic and hardworking, always willing to help those in need. Despite his success, Steven had long struggled to find the right partner. That changed when he met Olivia Harper on an upscale dating site for professionals. Olivia, a 35-year-old former nurse, had a warm, nurturing personality and an undeniable charm that drew people in. She spoke of her past career in healthcare, her love for travel, and her dream of opening a wellness retreat. The two clicked instantly, their online conversations quickly turning into late-night phone calls and weekend getaways. Within months, Steven and Olivia were inseparable. Their whirlwind romance seemed like a fairy tale. Dinners at high-end restaurants, spontaneous road trips, and lavish gifts exchanged as tokens of their love. Steven was convinced he had finally found his soulmate. Friends and family noticed how deeply in love he seemed, but some quietly wondered if things were moving too fast. What Steven didn't realize was that Olivia was not the woman she claimed to be. Behind her affectionate smiles and thoughtful gestures was a carefully constructed illusion, one that would lead to shocking betrayal, manipulation, and a crime that no one saw coming. The night of July 18, 2019, was supposed to be one of excitement for Steven Caldwell and Olivia Harper. They were set to leave for their honeymoon the next morning, a dream getaway to Santorini, Greece. Their suitcases were packed, the itinerary was set, and Steven had even posted a picture on social media, captioned, "Tomorrow a new chapter begins." But by sunrise, Steven would be dead. At 10:37 p.m., Olivia Harper made a frantic 911 call, her voice trembling as she told the dispatcher, "My fiancé fell. He's not breathing. Please hurry." When paramedics arrived at Steven's upscale Austin home, they found him lying at the foot of the staircase, his body sprawled awkwardly across the marble floor. Blood pooled beneath his head, and dark bruising wrapped around his neck, something that struck the first responders as strange for a simple fall. Olivia, dressed in silk pajamas, sat on the floor beside him, sobbing uncontrollably. Between gasping breaths, she told officers that Steven had been bringing down a suitcase when he lost his balance and tumbled down the stairs, hitting his head on the way down. At first glance, it seemed like a tragic accident, but something wasn't right. Medical examiner arrived shortly after and took one look at the body before shaking his head. Steven's injuries were severe, too severe for a staircase fall. His skull was fractured, his neck showed deep bruising, and there were broken blood vessels in his eyes, a telltale sign of asphyxiation. This was no accident. Over the next several hours, detectives questioned Olivia about the timeline of the evening. But the more she spoke, the more her story began to crumble. First, she claimed she was in the bedroom when Steven fell, but she later said she was in the bathroom. She said she called 911 immediately, yet security footage showed her pacing outside for nearly 30 minutes before making the call. She insisted she performed CPR, but paramedics noted that Steven's body was already cold to the touch, suggesting he had been dead for much longer. The contradictions were glaring. And when investigators pressed her on the security footage, her demeanor shifted. The sobbing stopped. Her voice became defensive. I don't remember. I was in shock. I don't know why I went outside first. I just panicked. The forensic evidence that changed everything. While Olivia struggled to explain herself, forensic experts were dissecting every detail of the crime scene. And what they found proved Steven's death wasn't an accident. It was murder. Steven's injuries didn't match a fall. The autopsy revealed deep bruising around his neck, meaning he had been strangled before the fatal head wound. His hyoid bone, a small bone in the neck, was fractured, a telltale sign of manual strangulation. Blood patterns contradicted Olivia's story. If Steven had fallen from the stairs, the blood pooling should have been linear and downward, following gravity. Instead, the blood spatter suggested he had been attacked on the floor, then his head was forcefully struck against a hard surface. The missing engagement ring. Steven always wore his $15,000 platinum engagement ring, but it was missing from his hand. Investigators found it days later, hidden in the garbage disposal. Someone had tried to cover something up. As detectives dug deeper into Olivia's life, they found the real motive behind the crime: an affair. Before Olivia Harper met Steven Caldwell, she had already left a trail of broken marriages, financial struggles, and unanswered questions. Her first husband, Daniel Vaughn, was a software engineer who mysteriously disappeared during a hiking trip in 2009. His body was never found, and although authorities suspected foul play, Olivia was the sole beneficiary of his $250,000 life insurance policy. Her second husband, Richard Hayes, a retired contractor, died in what was ruled an accidental fall from his balcony in 2015. The police had no solid evidence of foul play, but whispers of suspicion surrounded Olivia, especially when she collected another $300,000 in life insurance just months later. Despite her past being shrouded in mystery, Olivia always managed to reinvent herself, each time finding a new, wealthy man to latch onto. Meeting Steven Caldwell, a new target by 2017, Olivia had left her nursing career behind and was living off the remnants of her past settlements, but money was running out. That's when she met Steven Caldwell on an elite dating platform catering to successful professionals. Steven, a self-made businessman, was instantly drawn to Olivia's charm and apparent sophistication. She played the perfect role: caring, supportive, and deeply in love. Within months, they were engaged, and Olivia moved into his luxury home in Austin, Texas. On the surface, it seemed like the perfect love story, but Olivia's real intentions were far from romantic. As their wedding date approached in mid-2019, Olivia was already dreaming of a lavish life funded by Steven's wealth. She assumed that as his soon-to-be wife, she would inherit everything if something were to happen to him. But then she stumbled upon something that shattered her plans. While looking through Steven's paperwork one afternoon, Olivia discovered that he had named his younger sister, Emily Caldwell, as the sole beneficiary of his $1 million life insurance policy. none of the money would go to Olivia. Years of calculated moves, charm, and deception had been for nothing. Unless she found another way. A sinister plan takes shape. Within days of making the discovery, Olivia's behavior shifted drastically. She started pressuring Steven about changing the policy. She suggested they elope immediately, trying to rush the marriage. She became increasingly distant, spending more time on her phone, secretly contacting someone who could help her eliminate Steven. Investigators later uncovered a disturbing trail of deleted messages between Olivia and Mark Renshaw, her secret lover, a personal trainer she had met at the gym. She told Mark that Steven was abusive, that she felt trapped, and that the only way out was if Steven was gone. Then, just days before Steven's murder, Olivia made one last desperate move. She searched online. Can a will be changed after death? How to make a murder look like an accident? How much force is needed to break a skull? Her plan was set. Steven had to die, and she would make it look like an accident. But the evidence said otherwise. By the time Olivia Harper and her accomplice, Daniel Reese, stood trial, the case had become a media frenzy. True crime enthusiasts, legal analysts, and the public followed every detail as the chilling tale of greed, betrayal, and murder unraveled in the courtroom. Prosecutors wasted no time in laying out their case against Olivia. They portrayed her as a cold, calculating woman who had spent years manipulating men for financial gain. The prosecution highlighted her past marriages, pointing out how both of her previous husbands had died under suspicious circumstances, each time leaving her with large insurance payouts. Lead prosecutor Angela Rhodes delivered a powerful opening statement telling the jury, Olivia Harper is not a grieving fiancée. She is a predator who preys on wealthy men and disposes of them when they are no longer useful. She planned Steven Caldwell's murder for months, and when she realized she wouldn't inherit his fortune, she made sure he wouldn't live to change his will. The prosecution presented a mountain of damning evidence, including surveillance footage showing Olivia pacing in the driveway long before she called 911, forensic evidence proving that Steven was strangled before his fatal head injury, contradicting Olivia's claim of an accidental fall. Olivia's Google searches, including how to make a murder look like an accident and how much force is needed to break a skull. Phone records showing that Olivia had been texting Daniel Reese hours before the murder, coordinating the attack. A turning point came when a financial expert testified that Olivia had attempted to access Steven's accounts just 2 days after his murder. She wasn't mourning, she was cashing in. With overwhelming evidence against her, Olivia did what she did best. She lied. She claimed innocence, insisting that Daniel Reese had acted alone out of jealousy and that she had no part in the murder. Daniel was obsessed with me, Olivia told the jury through tears. I had no idea he was planning to hurt Steven. I loved Steven. But her performance fell flat. Prosecutors played recorded phone calls from jail, where Olivia tried to bribe Daniel into taking full responsibility. Just say you lost control, Olivia whispered in one call. They'll go easy on you. The jury listened in stunned silence. Olivia's web of lies was collapsing. Daniel Reese, Olivia's lover and accomplice, had been her pawn. But now, he was her downfall. After weeks of interrogation, Daniel cracked under pressure and agreed to a plea deal. He confessed everything. Olivia had lured him in with false promises, making him believe Steven was abusive. She plotted every detail of the murder, instructing him to make it look like an accident. She let him into the house that night, ensuring Steven was alone. When the prosecution played his taped confession in court, it was the final nail in Olivia's coffin. She said we'd be together forever, Daniel admitted, but all she really wanted was his money. After 5 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 6 hours. On May 17, 2021, the courtroom was packed with reporters and Steven's grieving family as the judge read the verdict. We, the jury, find the defendant, Olivia Harper, guilty of first-degree murder. A gasp filled the courtroom. Olivia's calm facade shattered as she broke into hysterical sobs. The judge showed no mercy. Olivia Harper was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Daniel Reese, having cooperated with authorities, received 25 years in prison. The final words from Steven's sister, Emily Caldwell, left the courtroom in silence. Olivia Harper didn't just kill my brother, she destroyed lives. No amount of prison time can bring Steven back. But at least today, justice was served. Though Olivia was behind bars, the damage she caused could never be undone. Steven's family struggled with the unimaginable grief of losing him in such a brutal way. Daniel Reese would spend the next 2 decades paying for his blind loyalty to a woman who never truly cared for him. Olivia Harper, once a woman who used charm and deception to manipulate men, was now just another inmate in an orange jumpsuit. As the news faded from headlines, one lesson remained clear. Some people will do anything for money, even kill the ones who love them most. Was Daniel Reese truly manipulated, or was he equally responsible for Steven's murder? Should Olivia Harper have received the death penalty instead of life in prison? What red flags should people look for in deceptive partners like Olivia? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more shocking true crime stories from around the world. Until next time, stay safe and stay vigilant. This is Crime Tales Across Times, signing off.